Hello and welcome to the 15-minute show, part of the Arsenal Therapy podcast. As always, we'll be broadcasting twice a week, so please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Today, I'm joined by Monty, who you can find on Twitter at Monty_official. Welcome to the show, Monty. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you, mate. I haven't seen you in a while. How's your little trip?
Yeah, very good, very good. So it's good to be back, and yeah, it has been a while since we last talked Arsenal. So yeah, it's good to catch up again. So we've got a few stories to run through today. Obviously, the first one, which I imagine is a bit of a clickbaity story, is the Aaron Ramsdale one coming from Sammy Mockbell at the Daily Mail. Not really surprising, though, that I guess teams are being linked to Aaron Ramsdale. He's a top keeper, and there's a lot of teams that really need a goalkeeper at this time, particularly Bayern Munich and Chelsea, who are the two teams linked. But just give me your thoughts on this one. What do you think? Is it bollocks? Is it true? Is there something there?
I've been bollocks. I thought it was quite funny when I first saw him. I was like, he's literally been subbed out one game, or loses it, and it's. I think it's. Did you see him in the interview? Like he wanted to sub a goalkeeper in a game, but he didn't feel confident enough. I think this is why, right? Yeah, he doesn't play one game, and it's crazy. But if it was a defender, midfielder, a striker, we'd be like, it's just one game.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
even
it's bollocks.
we've seen Pep bring in Ortega, and we've seen Brighton switch between two keepers already this season. But the minute Arsenal do it, it's madness. And I do think part of it is because Ramsdale's vying for the number one spot at England. So as he's pushing Pickford closer, there is always going to be that increased sensitivity around an English goalkeeper. So I do wonder if this was Bernd Leno, would anyone actually care? Or because no one cared when Ramsdale took his place. So there does seem to be a hypersensitivity right now because it's Ramsdale, because he's getting close to that number one spot. But I mean, like when I saw it, I was thinking if there's a game to bring Raya in for, it's this game. His two biggest strengths are collecting from crosses and that sweeper keeper. Phenomenal with his feet. The two things Everton do: crosses in the box and hoof the ball long field. So you've got a keeper that literally deals with both of those things. So yeah, but one of the questions I did have for you and I wanted to discuss, I was driving home last night and I was thinking about Arteta's interview about the two times he said he wishes he had a sub the keeper off. I think I've got one of them in my head, but what do you think the two games were?
Probably maybe the Man U game, but then it didn't really matter necessarily in the end. I'm trying to think, because I was thinking as well, and I wasn't too sure. Wouldn't have been Forest. I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't answer it. What about you, Adam?
I think so. The one I've got in my head is Leno versus Wolves when he was sent off and he had an absolute howler and we went down to 9 men. So
With the David Luiz little knee. Oh God,
yeah, because he said over the course of his career. So I think that has to be one of them, but I'm really not sure of the other one. And because he said one after 65 minutes and I think the other after 85. So it's a really interesting one because it's you just wonder what goes on in Arteta's mind. And I think just the sheer madness and it's one of those genius insanity, like very fine lines. And I mean, I think he handled it brilliantly. He's really wound up some Spurs fans and they seem to like. Big Ange does seem like a very nice guy, and I hate the fact he's Spurs manager whenever he comes out with some of these great interviews. But it seems to be that they're using that as every other manager's a complete dickhead. So it's, but yeah, for me, I think the weekend was very much a rotation thing. There's no way Arsenal are going to let Ramsdale go after
100%
kind of that. But
I saw a tweet as well. It was quite funny. It was about Chelsea, and it was like only another 7 players in January might fix it.
The thing is, they could sign another 30 players in January, and it's going to be the same thing. So yeah, they bring in Ramsdale, and they're going to have the same issue. I guess Bayern is probably a more credible link because they have been actively seeking for a new replacement for Neuer, and he's what 38 now, and he's recovering from broken leg and so on. So his career is very much at the kind of twilight. But yeah, Arsenal aren't going to sell Ramsdale to Chelsea. So if they did, it would be a huge fee. And I guess Chelsea do have the money to pay it.
He would be guaranteed to then become England #1. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Goes to Bayern Munich, they're like, wow, it's the Bayern Munich keeper. It's got to go.
Yeah, but he'd be playing alongside Kane, so Kane would maybe get his mate into the team. But who knows? But yeah, for me, it's a non-story there. I think it's one of those it's a slow week. You need headlines. Suddenly, bang, Arteta gives you it on a plate. Let's get that straight out. But definitely don't see anything in it for me. But the next one before we get on to talking about PSV is some positive news coming out of Arsenal is that Jurrien Timber was seen walking yesterday during the team pictures, and which seems like fairly quick for him to be out of crutches and actually like looking like he was walking without any aid at all. And I mean, that boy still looks like an absolute unit. Usually after you've had surgery and so on, there would be a bit of muscle wastage, having gone from such a high kind of intensity of training to essentially nothing. There is still no timeline, but we keep hearing that every bit of news that comes out suggests it could be a bit shorter. So I guess, what are your thoughts on that? Because the reality is we don't have any concrete facts to work off here. This is just gut feelings.
I think when you come to ligaments, they're always tricky. You got to think as well. It was predicted what at the start of the season was he was out for the whole season. So we probably wouldn't see him. I mean, him walking now is a good sign. It's only been a month, if that.
A month.
About a month. So yeah, that's quicker. So maybe with that he could potentially come in towards the end. But at that stage, you're like, do you need to? Unless it comes through to the last important games, we might be able to get some rotation because we're deep in other cups, maybe. But no, I wouldn't buy into it too much. I'm happy that he is walking again. We'll obviously want to see all of our players fit. It's just so unfortunate for him to get that injury on his Premier League debut. So hopefully he will. If he'll be back stronger and better, because I know some people can come back stronger and some people don't. I mean, when I think of ligaments, I just think of ones like Hector Bellerin and stuff. They were never quite the same, but like you said, he looks like an absolute beast. So he must be really focused in his rehab. Must be keeping it good. Nutrition must be important. So yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic for Timber. I just wish he wasn't injured.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some reports that we could see him late February, early March, which if we do would be great. I think if that's the case, I very much doubt we would add in January unless someone came up defensively, that is, that we felt was kind of maybe a Diamante or someone that we couldn't turn down. But I guess it's with this one, it's very much let's wait and see. We can be optimistic, but it could be that he's back on the pitch in March, but he's not really back on the pitch until the beginning of the next season, because we know what these injuries are like. It does take a long time to get your groove back because you've just been out of the game so long.
We maybe come in as a few subs, potentially get some minutes.
Yeah, 100%. Get his medal at the end of the season and so on.
Yeah. How many games is it you've got to do?
5 now. It used to be 10. 5. So yeah, that's why Martin Keown was so wound up in the last game of the season when Ray Parlour told him he wasn't getting on because he was on 9.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he got on the last minute. So, but all the whole team, Ray Parlour's got a story that they all convinced him that he wasn't getting a run out. So he wasn't going to get his minutes, and Wenger was bringing someone else on, and he was livid on the dugout. So yeah, the good old days. But the big news of the week really is that we will be back at the Emirates under the lights tomorrow night. Champions League anthem. Give me your thoughts.
I don't know. I can't wait, mate. Especially at the Emirates. It's been too long. It's been too long to hear that music. Considering the last time we were here was a very bad day.
2016.
Yeah, Bayern Munich won it 5-1.
I mean, 2017, yeah.
2017,
So,
yeah. It was yeah, so it's just gonna be good to see Under the Lights again. Unfortunately, I'm not going. I wish I was. But it's just gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I think the team is gonna be an interesting one. But I'm excited to see him. I want to see some of the boys perform on the big stage, and us finally get the credit. It's always a case of all our players can start this Champions League campaign. Now they do it. If they can do what they're normally doing in the Champions League, that's when you people start going, oh.
Yeah, it's where you really, it's a bit like when Saka stepped up at the Euros and started really performing.
Yeah.
People were like, actually, maybe it's not just Arsenal fans. Then he went to the World Cup and he did it there. But funny enough, it was 4 years ago today that Saka scored his first goal for Arsenal. So it'll be 4 years. And then tomorrow he will be making his first Champions League appearance. But I agree with you. I think it's one of those, it's where the likes of Saka and Odegaard and Declan Rice and so on are really going to be noticed. Even William Saliba, we know how good he is. I think most people know how good he is, but it is the Champions League when you're playing against the very best in the game. It was even like last year with Kyle Walker, for example, people questioning whether he was done. Then he goes out and he absolutely busted against Vinicius, and you're like, actually, Walker's still ridiculously good. And it's that very, very top level where you really judge players. But the question is kind of, we've now got a squad filled with quality. We've seen Arteta rotate pretty much in every game with, I guess, micro tweaks. And tomorrow night, I expect to be no different. But how would you line up?
For the PSV game, ideally, I definitely want to see Reece Nelson get a start, maybe in Smith Rowe, or he needs to get a sniff. And Smith Rowe, we just haven't seen this guy like all year. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. And he impressed in the Community Shield as well.
Exactly. Midfield, I mean, up front, I would personally go 𝗔𝗙𝗖 and then go Jesus again as a late sub, just to get more minutes. I'm still not 100% on him yet. He still looked a bit tired, a little bit leggy. So even though he came as a sub, midfield, I'm gonna go probably Vieira, Havertz, just to give him a good game where he might be able to get some confidence up. And Rice, maybe. I mean, like, who else? Because I think El Nenny's back now, isn't he?
El Nenny's, I think, back, but yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't been following El Nenny's updates.
Yeah.
Interestingly, with Jesus and 𝗔𝗙𝗖, for me, I would kind of think, right, we've got two strong strikers in the team. Who do you want to play on Sunday? The other plays tomorrow night, and then that gives you.
You got to play Jesus on Sunday, in my opinion, and then get a couple of minutes.
And the other option is Kai Havertz. You play him through the middle, so it's it is a game where we are going to be expected to score goals. They have lost Xavi Simons, who was one of their best players last season. He caused us a real headache throughout both games. So they're not as strong as they were last season. So Havertz could be the man through the middle. It could be that we look at Jesus on the left wing or the right wing, or that is an option as well. So yeah, I agree with you. I would like to see Smith Rowe get some minutes, because the big thing for me is players getting minutes early. The last thing we want to see is what we saw last year, where it comes to the second half of the season, we get a few injuries, and suddenly you're like, we need this player, but they haven't played all season. How fresh are they? Is it a risk bringing them into the squad? So yeah, I guess
who's your back line, do you think? I'm gonna go Tommy Kivior, probably Gabriel, Nacho, then Saliba, and then right back. It's got to probably be Ben White, or maybe Cedric Suarez. I know he's still on the team, just to give Ben White a break.
I I think I would go Tomiyasu right back, Saliba, Gabriel, and Kivior.
Well,
So
left back.
yeah,
It's
we've
not
seen
bad.
him there before. I think
Yeah.
he's someone that can invert a bit. He looks fairly comfortable on the ball. He can ping it all over the park, and I think he's someone I want to see getting as many minutes as possible because I think the talent's there.
No, it's good.
Well, the big question is, which is a bit of a flip of a coin, is who do you start in goal?
Honestly, I would probably go Raya again. I think Raya should be more of the cup keeper. And then we get Ramsdale in on Sunday.
The other question, though, is if Raya starts tomorrow and keeps another clean sheet, and he's had 2 good performances and 2 clean sheets on the bounce, how do you drop him for Sunday? So
No, I'd still put Ramsdale because he's been in it. He's been in a North London derby, and he's done great both times. In
he
my
loves the
opinion, anyway.
hostility.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
He thrives off it. Whereas Raya, I just think he's more of a. I just see him more as a cup sort of as a keeper. Like you said, he can go those like that vertical crosses. He can get up and play that sweeper keeper role, and that's gonna be kind of what's needed on those sort of games. Just to add more confidence, I think. I mean, they're both amazing shot stoppers, so there's no disparity there. You just get different like styles of player, whereas Ramsdale's more distribution is better. His shot stopping is amazing, and the way that he can control the time, like he's such a good like game manager. Like he'll go down, he'll just sort of like take like an injury, and then we've got a little water break. Whereas with Raya, he's just more of a physical presence. I'd say. I think he's just a bit stronger.
and so I don't see a huge amount of rotation in this game because I think you need to start the Champions League strong. You need to start getting those kind of 9, 12 points on the board, and then ideally hit the last 2. So in midfield, we've got a player in Declan Rice who's just a minute machine. He's someone that he will just clock them
Can
up.
get a full 9 yards, yeah.
And he's someone that gets stronger the more games he plays. We've seen him this season. He's got better and better with each week. So I fully see him starting this game. And but we do have Jorginho there.
Yeah.
Do you give, like, in your opinion, should we be giving Rice a breather, or is this something like every Arsenal player is going to be itching to get on the grass tomorrow night? And I think this is different to Man City or even Arsenal 6 or 7 years ago, where you would have thought, right, we'll give Saka a breather. Saka is going to be banging on Arteta's door saying, I want to be playing that game. And I think nearly every player is. They've worked so hard to get there. So is this slightly different to kind of other Champions League games, given the journey it's taken to get back there? Or is this something that we have to, I guess, rotate a bit more, because there is the emotional side of this, and you can't really get away from that, no matter how mature we're becoming.
No, I definitely think you're right there. I mean, it's been years, and like you said, they have worked for it. But there's a bit of mind games though, really, isn't it? You just don't know, and even if you're the manager of PSV, you don't know what team you're coming up against, because you can be like, well, Arsenal historically, they're probably going to have a lighter squad historically, but we haven't been there. But not with Arteta anyway. So we have no idea how he's going to treat it. We literally have no idea. Is it going to be light? Is it going to be strong? I think it would be more strong than light. I think that would be silly not to, really, considering it's his first game in the Champions League, and he wants to do well. Club wants to do well, but it is PSV, and they have played quite poorly this season. And we do have an important game coming up on Sunday.
And we've got Brentford next week as well. So we've got an incredibly tight schedule. I think we've 7 games in 3.5 weeks. So, and every Arsenal fan wants a deep squad until you suggest rotation, and then suddenly it's like the minute you suggest that you might have to rest Saka, it's completely mass panic. Saka doesn't need a rest. Salah doesn't get a rest, and it's like I was looking at the minutes of Arsenal players yesterday and comparing them to City. So City played 61 games last season. Arsenal played 49. Despite that, only 2 City players played more minutes than Gabriel last season, and they had 61 games, so an extra 12 games. Only 5 City players played more minutes than Saka, and none of them were forwards bar Haaland. So when you look at that, that shows the amount of rotation City do of those players in wide areas. And City, I keep saying this on this show, the pod, whatever. City have their spine that they don't rotate. True. Ederson, Ruben Diaz if he's fit, Rodri, Haaland. Those 4 play as many minutes as they have available. But there's a lot of other players that rotate out a lot, and we need to get more used to seeing it, because we are seeing now Fabio Vieira is back. He was written off at the start of the season. He's stepping up. We've got Havertz there. We've got Smith Rowe. We've got Reece Nelson, all quality players. And Tomiyasu looks back to the player he was 2 years ago. And if he can stay fit, that's another very important player that I think we can all be confident if Tomiyasu starts, if he comes off the bench. These are the players that help you win titles. It's starting 11s go so far, but like Man United over the years, it was your John O'Shea's, Darren Fletcher's, Park Ji-sung's that were crucial to it. Even the Chelsea teams, they had so many kind of great squad players that could come in and kind of put in a shift and so on. And it's Liverpool are one of the few sides that maintained a starting 11, and Klopp ran them into the ground. And that's why they had one incredible year followed by a year of fourth and then another year bouncing back up. But they were one of the few that you would say were really all about starting 11 with a handful of squad players. So yeah, we as a team need to get more used to our favorite players missing out. And even I've seen over the weekend some really mad stuff, which is Arsenal fans sharing videos of Thomas Partey saying Declan Rice couldn't do a quarter of this, or the other way around, and it's like Thomas Partey is nowhere near this off the ball, and it's like, guys, they both play for Arsenal. It's like, just be happy.
They're both amazing, isn't it?
So yeah, I think we're not used to being this spoiled. So yeah, but it's one of those for tomorrow. We need to, I guess, accept some rotation will happen. But at the same time, we know what Arteta's like, and he probably will play a fairly strong squad. So the one position that we haven't looked at is the right 8 position. Do you start Odegaard? Obviously, he's the captain. He's going to want to play that game.
I think you start him, but you sub him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you sub him off 60th, 70th minute, Fabio Vieira on, or even get Emerson Farhan and put Vieira to the right, shift it if you want to have Vieira up with him rather than Kai Havertz. But I think we'll have Havertz most likely.
Maybe when we're 5-0 up at halftime, something like that. Yeah, a breather. So yeah,
you done well, lad. You done well.
That seems like a good note to wrap it up. I think we've explored that well enough for today, and I know, like every Arsenal fan, I just can't wait to see us back hearing that anthem again. It's been far too long. So yeah, but Monty, thanks for joining us today. Everyone, you can find Monty on Twitter at Monty_official, and you can find us at Arsenal Therapy Pod. So thank you for joining. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and thank you for helping us grow this show. We've now passed 1,500 subs. We've gone up 500 since last Saturday. So it is incredible, the growth that we're seeing on this channel. So thank you to everyone that's joined us, and have a great day and look forward to the game. We will catch you soon. Cheers, guys.